All right, today we are talking about tariffs. This is in the news all over the place. The whole world is talking about tariffs, and it looks like the whole world is waking up to learn what these tariffs are and how tariffs work. It's like the controversy around these things depends on what side of the political aisle you're on. And this is the frustrating thing. I don't think enough people are morally grounded to realize how the tariff works and why what President Trump is doing is effective. What is even the goal? What is the point of tariffs? When you look at the global markets, who buys our products? And when I say our products, I mean the United States products. Who buys the United States products? Canada, China, European Union. Who buys American products? And what products are those? Now, if we're talking anything other than fuel or machinery parts, like engine parts, something big, we're talking turbines, we're talking something specialized. What do they buy? Well, 65% of all product made in the United States, where does it go? It stays in the United States. We buy it ourselves. That's what we do with it. We sustain our own economy that way. We're consumers. We're a consumer market. We're consumers. What are we? We're supposed to be a free trade market. We're supposed to be an open market. We're a highly regulated market. And part of that regulation is how we are treated by other countries. Why aren't our consumer goods being purchased by other countries? Now that brings to mind something funny. An opponent of these tariffs said, "Well, hey, you throw 30% tariffs on Japan, or you start throwing tariffs on other countries. Well, why don't you just do it industry specific? Why don't you just go, hey, they, we want them to buy more of our goods. We throw a 30% tariff on rice. Why don't they do that? Well, that's not truly reciprocal. The United States is not a large producer of rice. We might produce wheat, maybe corn. Soybeans is a huge export from the United States. Soybeans, and that goes directly to Asia. China is the number one buyer of soybeans, especially from the United States. But why don't you just pick and choose? Well, the market will do what the market does. It responds. It's resourceful. It will adjust. It will adjust to find ways around everything. Let's look back. What about when the beef was banned in Asia? American beef was banned in China due to mad cow disease. It was a preemptive thing. We didn't have rampant mad cow, but they banned it. What did the countries do? They still bought American beef. They just exported it into Hong Kong through another country. So if you take American beef, move it to Mexico, move it to another country, and then import it to that other country, you just got around it. You slapped a new label on it. You got around it. And you can fact check me on this. American beef went to China that way. Free trade will find a way. So if you're not applying tariffs across the board, you're not sending any message aside from the fact that you're just going to play a game. What President Trump is doing is sending a message. What message is he sending? Well, I'll tell you what he's sending. This is the message he's sending. The game is over. The childish games of the past is over. If you want to do business with the United States, if you want the United States to buy your product, which historically, this is why it works in our favor so much. The United States is the number one consumer nation in the world. We buy everybody's product, and we're happy to pay for it. We're very wealthy, and we will buy your product and resell it and resell it and resell it and turn that product into many multiples of revenue. It is an amazing economy. It's an amazing opportunity economy. And every country in the world wants a piece of the opportunity of the American economy. But at the same time, we have politicians playing the game. What's the game? The game is they're going to slap 100%, 50%, 30% tariffs on American-made products coming into their country and expect us to have zero tariffs on the products coming out of their country. What does that mean? Well, if I am a country and I want to incentivize my own economy for my own benefit, I'm going to raise the prices on everybody else's products and keep the prices on my products low. That's how that works. Tariffs are a way to adjust the prices to make other countries' products more or less affordable. That's exactly how it works. A tariff is a tax on other people's products. Why does that matter? And here's what a lot of opponents to this are saying. Who pays the tariffs? Tariffs are paid by the consumer. Well, could be. It can be. That's exactly how taxes are paid. Who pays any type of tax? And I'm not a proponent of taxes. I am a proponent of certain things that we'll get to in a second, and this is why I am super proud of these tariffs happening. But let's explain it and let's break it down, because it's not just for the fun of it. These tariffs have a specific reason for happening. So let's jump into this. Other countries are raising the price on American goods while expecting us to buy their goods at a discounted price, at a premium to them. Well, that doesn't seem too fair. If people want, and when by people I mean other nations, if other nations want access to the American economy, to the American buyer, this is where free trade sounds amazingly nice. Free trade, as in you want us to buy your product, let's have a reciprocal agreement. We will buy your product, you buy our product. Or at least do not raise the price on our American citizens. Let them buy let the American citizens, the American companies sell American products in your country at the same tariff rate as we let your citizens and your companies sell their products in our country. That's how it works. You want to charge 100%, which is doubling the price? 100% tariff. What does that mean? It means if you have a $100 product, that's the price tag you're selling to American companies. If the tariff is 100%, that means that product now costs $200. Now that's hard to compete with. That's hard to stay competitive when suddenly the price of your product, though no fault of that manufacturer, the price of your product just doubled. Well, doesn't this affect all the American companies too and the producers? Well, what about all the components? Well, yeah, this does affect all the American companies too. If you're an American company buying components from another country, fantastic. At some point, that was the response to a resourceful business decision or deal. You're buying products from another country, components from another country, incorporating it into a product, and then reselling it. That's fantastic. But those components are sourced from another country. Well, if that country is treating the United States unfairly, well, now the playing field has been leveled. And it's not even been leveled on 1-to-1. Trump's reciprocal tariffs, they weren't 1-to-1. They were half of what those other countries are charging us. But us charging them half the tariff they charge us hurts them way more than it hurts us. That's why it is such a bargaining chip. That's what people don't understand. When you negotiate, what do you leave on the table? Well, if you have no bargaining chip on the table, what are you negotiating with? Let's play a game here. You're a country. We'll pretend this. You play the country that is charging us a 50% tariff. I'll play the United States. You are charging a 50% tariff on our products. We don't charge you anything. We come to you and say, hey, it'd be really nice if you could lower your tariff on our American companies. And what do you say? Well, what would you say? You'd say, what's in it for me? I'll lower the tariff on your American-made products. But what are you going to give me in return? Well, what are we going to give them in return? How do you negotiate that? Any good negotiator, anybody who's been in a negotiating session, anybody who's bought a car and had to sit with those well-trained salespeople, let me ask you something. Is that the position you want going into negotiating with these other countries? Well, you could take the hard stance here. Let's play it out this way. Lower the tariff. They say, well, what are you going to give me? And say, well, we're not going to give you anything. But if you don't lower the tariff, then we're going to put tariffs on you. Well, now it's just a game of chicken. And now what you've opened them up to is, well, while you're playing a game of chicken, diplomatic chicken, now they have an opportunity. What's this opportunity? A preemptive strike on our economy. See, if you want to negotiate with somebody, do you start with a threat? And by that, I mean an empty promise. Hey, lower the tariffs on our country, or else. Or else what? Bam, higher tariffs on the United States. Now the ball is all in their court. Terrible negotiating. Let's play this out a second way. Hi, country. You're charging us 50% tariffs on our American companies. That's not fair. We don't like that. We're charging you 25% tariffs on all the products that we buy from you, which is a lot. 25%. Because we buy a lot of products from you. Matter of fact, you don't really buy that much products from us, so that 50% tariff, it's kind of been a deal killer. So we don't really have that much product going into your country. So you know what? Go ahead, raise the tariffs. Go to 100%, go to 1,000% tariffs. That'll hit softly in our economy. But you know what? We're going to charge you 25% tariffs, and if you raise your tariffs on us, we're gonna raise it to you as well, and we're gonna keep raising it until you come to the table. Let's negotiate. You want free trade? You want fair trade? We'll talk. But you know what? Until you're ready to talk, I just want you to know this is the deal. 25% tariffs on your 50% tariffs to us. Feel free, call anytime. Hang up the phone. Who is holding the bargaining power? Who has something to lose? Who has something to gain? Well, the stock market. Let's look at the stock market as of right now. And this is Wednesday. I wanted to record this last week. There's so much has been happening. The stock market, as of close Wednesday, let's see what's going on. The Dow is at 40,608. 40,000. Stock market. Let me tell you something. The only practical way, and any money manager, anybody who has looked behind the curtain of a 401k knows the number one contributor to a 401k is the savings that gets held out of a person's paycheck, the money the person puts into it. That is the number one driving force of anybody's retirement plan. You think the stock market taking a little bit of a dip hurts people? Doesn't hurt nearly as much as not having money to save. It doesn't hurt nearly as much as not having a 401k. It doesn't hurt nearly as much as the millions of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. That's what really grinds my gears. The Dow is at 40,000. 5 years ago, do you remember what it was 5 years ago when it took the COVID dip? 5 years ago, our stock market went down less than 20,000. I remember when people were calling it crazy that it would ever break 30. They were calling it a bubble. They were looking for a market correction. The market correction came when our pandemic came. And a few short years later, look at us. We're over 40,000 on the Dow. You're going to tell me that's not a bunch of smoke? That's not a bunch of made-up equity? Do you really think our economy has doubled in the last 10 years? What was the Dow 10 years ago? Let's see, 2015. What was it? 2015. 10 years ago, the Dow closed on this date, 17,902. 17,902. Can you believe that, folks? 10 years ago. 10 years. And we're at 4608. 40,608. 22,000 points difference. Almost 23,000 points different. You're going to tell me that our economy, that our stock, that what these folks are so concerned about for the 401ks and the financial health of our country, you're going to tell me in the last 10 years our financial situation has doubled in value? Are you twice as rich, more than twice as rich as you were 10 years ago? Are you making more than double what you were making 10 years ago? Do you have twice as much money saved in the bank as what you had 10 years ago? We all know the answer. And that is why these tariffs are so important. Let's talk about the middle class for a minute. What is the driving force in a healthy middle class? There's many schools of thought, and everybody has an opinion. Everybody's hearing everybody's opinion. The news cycle is going nonstop on this. There's one thing that the middle class needs. I'll tell you what that is, folks. That is opportunity in a fair market, free trade market, where you have the opportunity to succeed or fail. It's not somebody else's fault. It's nobody holding you back. You get a fair shot just like everybody else. That's what the middle class wants. If you want to work a 9 to 5 and you want to have benefits, you want to have the opportunity to go on vacation and go to your kids' games, you want to be able to travel a little bit in your 40-year career, you need the opportunity for that. You need good jobs with good incomes and good benefits. And you shouldn't have to move to Mexico or Canada or Asia to chase your old job. The trade agreements, the free market that's been shoved down your throat says it's better for your jobs to go to people who make less and can produce that product cheaper than you so that you can buy it. I don't know about you, but there's not a lot that makes sense in that logic. We're going to have someone else make your product cheaper so that it can come back to you so you can buy it. It makes 0 sense. On this date, 22,706 points difference from 10 years ago. And everybody opposed to these tariffs is worried about the stock market. Well, why are we still so high in the stock market? Well, I'll tell you what happened today. Donald Trump posted, "Hey, based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world markets, I'm hereby raising the tariff charge to China by the United States of America to 125%. Well, that's amazing. Every product coming from China to the United States will now cost more than double what it used to cost. That is a lot of products, folks. That is a lot. That's everything from your cell phone charge cords to your knockoff Nikes. Everything. Your refrigerators, your appliances, your tools, your nails. Everything. That's amazing. I want to talk about the effects of coordinated community justice economics. Let's take a day off from buying from buying Chinese products. Take a day off. How many billions of dollars does that affect? What can you live without for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days? What could you live without for a month? Because I'll tell you what, folks, if you can live without something, if you postpone your purchases for 1 month, if it's not a necessary purchase, I'll tell you what happens. All of your suppliers, they will find a country that doesn't have 125% tariffs to source their products from. Or better yet, they will find a way to source it in the United States, where Donald Trump has rolled out incentives. Wouldn't that be amazing if we made our own products? We are the number one consumer of our own products already. Why are we subsidizing every other country that also taxes us out the nose? Doesn't make much sense. But let's see, that's what he did for China. 125% tariffs effective immediately. Now, is the door shut? No. Follows up, at some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realize that the days of ripping off the USA and other countries is no longer sustainable or acceptable. Conversely, and based on the fact that more than 75 countries have called representatives of the United States, including the Department of Commerce, Treasury, and the USTR, to negotiate a solution to the subjects being discussed relative to trade barriers, tariffs, currency manipulation, and non-monetary tariffs, and that these countries have not retaliated in any way, shape, or form against the United States, I authorize a 90-day pause and a substantially lowered reciprocal tariff during this period of 10%, also effective immediately. Folks, we have a patriot in our Oval Office who is fighting for global free trade. He is right when he says we've been treated unfairly, and he has the courage to stand up to your hedge fund managers in Wall Street who are enjoying a more than double point increase in the stock market. Let's put that into tariff language here. 10 years ago, our stock market was in the 17,000 on the Dow, measuring on the Dow. Now it's over 40. That's over a 100% increase in the value of the Dow Jones Industrial Index. 100%. To those listening, are you 100% more profitable in your small businesses than you were 10 years ago? Are you 100% closer to a healthy retirement than you were 10 years ago? That's why these tariffs are so important. He is fighting for free trade so that our neighbors and our businesses can sell their products around the world. And we will be glad to buy the products from all the countries around the world. But don't punish us, and we're not going to punish you. It's a great day in America. It is a great day in the world when our countries can stop playing the tit for tat that has been plaguing our economies and our politics. Imagine what good we can come to. Imagine what we can really start working on and solving. This is a great day, folks. I think that's just about everything I have to say on the tariffs for today. I have many more thoughts. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Take care and have a wonderful day.